It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone. And when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way the things will really go with Sandra. And some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but someday we'll realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend with Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wants to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wants to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Yeehaw! Good morning, folks. How's everybody doing? Happy Thursday. Yes, Friday part 1 is here. Wow. Almost halfway through the month. Monday is the 15th, and we are officially 2 weeks, only 2 weeks, folks, away from Christmas. Wow. It's hard to believe. I mean, I am so not ready. Yeah, I think it's going to be a low key Christmas this year. But, we're going to push on through, honey child. Good morning to everyone. Hope that you guys are having a fantabulous week thus far. Hope that everything's good. Of course, we've got a show for you. Good show for you today, as always. Marshall, good morning to you. What are you doing on YouTube? I'm so used to seeing you over on Facebook. I'm like, hey, Marshall, what's going on? Now logging on. Good morning to Damaris joining us from NYC. Damaris, how's it going? How's it going? Yes, New York must be cold now. I'm suspecting. Yeah. All right. Tell us what the temperature is looking like in North Carolina, Marshall, and of course in New York. I think you guys might actually be getting some little snow and stuff like that, all that good fun stuff for the winter. So yeah, snow is nice, just a little bit every once in a while. I feel like it probably gets old really quickly though, when you have to live in it and drive in it and all that good stuff. So yes, let me see who else is here. We got some international news that we're going to be covering. We got some guests coming on today. Strong Wilt, good morning to you and happy Thursday. How are you doing, honey chill? I hope that you're doing well. Yep. Lots of good stuff going on. Don't forget now on the YouTube channel, we actually have 2 live streams that are playing. So some people are like, I think things are duplicating. No. They're not duplicating. We see them twice because one is now in vertical mode and one is in horizontal mode. So you have the option of deciding which one of those works best for you. So if you're on a mobile device, you probably will prefer vertical on the YouTube channel. And of course, if you're watching on the big screens, you probably will prefer the horizontal. And to be honest, more or less, people are discovering the options because I see people liking both options. So yeah, whichever one you prefer, you've now got a choice. Isn't that amazing? Absolutely amazing. Beautiful. And you can also watch us on cmrtv.com. So the website is there, and we're still working on the website. Lots of back end elements are being sorted out. So, we embarked on this CMR TV journey, and I can tell you that it's not been an easy journey. Some days I shake my head at the technical team and I'm like, what's going on? But here we are, had a vision, and the vision started many, many years ago. Some people don't know how long the vision started because, you've probably not been paying attention, but as far back as of at least 2022, I have been talking about the fact that we were going to do some of these shows, the cooking show and some of the other shows. So it's been a long-term vision, and things don't happen overnight. You plan ahead, and you start to deploy different elements. Sometimes, believe it or not, the best thing to do is to sit back and wait. I know what you're thinking. You're like, really, Auntie? Yes. Sit back and wait, because sometimes you allow the market to kind of flutter around for a little bit. You sit back and wait, and then you see how things play out, and you can tweak things based on that. You got to be willing to learn. So it's so important on this journey of life that we are always willing to learn, and we learn from others. We learn from ourselves sometimes and our own mistakes, and then we level up. All right, the real Michelle and Deborah in the house. Hello, everybody, says the real Michelle. How you doing, honey child? Marshall jumped on Facebook all of a sudden. He says it was 37 degrees this morning in North Carolina. Brrr. Oh my gosh, cold. Yeah, that's proper jacket weather for sure. Patricia Blake in the house. Good morning to you. Suyapa, hello. Where are you joining us from this morning? Let us know when you guys join us from all these amazing exotic and international locations. We love our international crew. So good morning to you. Plain and Straight is here. Damaris says it's very cold. Damaris is not even going to give us a temperature. She's like, listen, it's just very cold, okay? It's just very cold. That's all you need to know. Very, very cold. Woo! Sorry, girl. Don't worry. You'll get through it. Lavana is here, still recovering from back surgery. How are you feeling? We keep a track of how all of our usual family members here in the program are doing, the CMR fam. And we know that Lavana had some surgery. That's not an easy surgery by any stretch of the imagination. So we're going to continue to keep you in our prayers. Yes, girl. You'll get there, though. You're in good hands during the surgery, and now you're on the road to recovery. And the beautiful Gina is joining us as well. Good morning, Miss Gina. How are you? Plain and Straight is in the house. Patricia Blake. We got Miss Bonnie joining us from East End. She said she's listening. Yes, girl. I see you. All right. So we've got some important 22 degrees. Yikes. Oh, my gosh. Outdid North Carolina by double digits. Wow. Any snow? Ah, girl. Yeah. I remember those days. Ooh, it used to get cold in Tampa. I don't feel like Tampa gets as cold anymore. I don't know. But boy, back in the 80s, we had some wicked weather in Tampa, I can tell you. All in the teens. Oh, frost outside. Wake up early enough in the morning, you had frost on your trees and stuff, on your plants. But yes, thank you so much, Damaris. Just make sure you bundle up and you keep the heat on, girl. Mm-hmm. Stay nice and toasty. And of course, we'll show you some Caribbean pictures to help warm you up as well. I think that might help. All right. So, Marshall, we'll get to that. He said he hasn't heard from Leroy in a while. You know what? Neither have I. So, I'm assuming that he's okay, though. They say no news is good news. So, he was struggling with some addiction issues and he wanted to get some help. And we thought that was more important than being on the show every morning, commenting, work on your mental health and your emotional well-being first and foremost. So, yeah, I hope he's doing well. Yep. All right. Miss Lavana says, it's my hip, but I'm coming on pretty good. Oh, shoot. I think I was confusing you with, who had back surgery? I know why I'm confusing you. Felix. Felix had back surgery, I think, at Health City. That's I'm confusing the two of you. You had hip surgery. Okay. Did you have back surgery before the hip surgery? I think at some point you did have back surgery, right? Oh, gosh. Maybe it's just me and my menopausal brain. I don't know. All right. Good morning, Sophia. Good morning to Miss Flora. So nice to see you guys. So we've got a really important set of guests joining us this morning. And I'll be quite honest with you. Every single time I see a car accident during the holidays, I'm just flabbergasted. I'm just like, wow, another one? There were several yesterday. You guys know that we don't get them all, but we get a lot. And so, wow. I don't know what to say. We're going to have to just invite our guests on, and hopefully they have some insight into the Arrive Alive 345 campaign. But just road safety in general is such a concern in this country. And I'm hoping that as a community, we can address this and we can, be on a better path, because I think what's happening right now just isn't working. Oh, my goodness. All right. We've got representatives here this morning from the National Drug Council. We've got the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service and the ministry as part of the National Road Safety Committee. So let's go ahead and pull our guests into the studio. First up, we have, is Miss Angela joining us? Give me a thumbs up. Go ahead and turn your camera on and give us a thumbs up. So let's the ministry representative on first. Good morning. How are you? Is that Minister Kathy?
Good morning. That is me.
Oh, I didn't know it was. Yeah, let me pull myself back in. I didn't realize it was going to be you.
Yes, of course, this is very important. So I wanted to be here to talk about this campaign that is being run by the National Drug Council.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. All right, they didn't give me names, so it's like a little bit of a, shocking surprise this morning. All right, I'm going to send you one brief message on WhatsApp. I just want you to check that for me, and then we're also going to pull in Miss Angela Seeley. Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you.
Miss Angela, so good to see you. Now, tell us in what capacity you're here this morning with
I am from the National Drug Council, and I am the program manager. And along with Simon Miller, we've been coordinating AA345.
Okay. All right, beautiful. All right, well, let's go ahead and pull Mr. Simon Miller in as well. Good morning, Simon Miller.
Good morning, Ms. Hill. Good morning to you and your listeners and your viewers around the world. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And of course, we know you're no stranger, but for people who may not have seen you in a while, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your position and what you're up to.
So I'm the prevention specialist of the National Drug Council, and I'm joined here with Miss Angela and our wonderful minister, and hopefully the RCIPS will be jumping in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We're good. We're good. So, Mr. Walton is just sorting himself out. I just see that. So, yes, let's go ahead and we're going to talk about, this very, very important annual campaign. I think Mr. Kurt Walton, who's the Commissioner of Police, might be ready. So let's go ahead and pull him in now as well. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. All is well. I'm certainly glad to be on here and talk about a very serious and important topic. So looking forward to the conversation.
Amazing. Now I'm going to pull you out just for one quick second because I want you to pull those blinds in the background down for me if you can. So let's give him an opportunity to do that. So yes, in the world of video, light behind you is your enemy. It just makes it too, sometimes you gotta darken it a little bit and stuff. So yes. All right. So I think he's going to be ready. Let's go ahead and check on Minister, the Honorable Kathy Wilkes. Yes, that's much better. Thank you, ma'am. So we have a full house this morning because it's such an important topic. All right, Mr. Walton, you ready? We're going to pull you back in now. There we go. All right. That's better. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So good morning to all of you. We're going to be talking about the annual, because I think we've had it now for a number of years, Arrive Alive 345 campaign. But let's talk about road safety. So, Mr. Walton, let's start with you because my goodness, every single day, I see accidents and I am flabbergasted. I don't know if you saw the video where off of my dash cam, because, I got to have that dash cam running hot when I'm on the Cayman roads now. There was an incident where a gentleman pulled out of the street and knocked over a guy in his bicycle. Did you see that one that we posted?
Yes, ma'am.
And there were actually people in the comment section who were like, "Oh, Miss Sandy, did you stage this accident to be able to sell dash cams?" I had to laugh. I'm just like, are people crazy? Why would anybody need to stage an accident? They must not know what's happening on Cayman Street. Tell us from your perspective, Commissioner, what is happening in Cayman roads? How many accidents a day are we now looking at?
I suppose, first of all, good morning again, and good morning to the audience.
Good morning.
So, in reality is that this issue on our roads, as far as the driving standards and the culture of driving, is absolutely abject. I'm never going to move off of that. I'm a very candid individual. I speak where I see things are at. So the reality is that we are averaging just shy of 10 per day. We're currently at 3,332 road traffic collisions already this year. That is already 144 more than where we were last year. But that isn't, as generally speaking, when we look back since 2020, we average, there's an average increase of 155 per year since 2020. So it was almost as if it was predictable that we would continue to see this increase. It's been increasing, as I said, on an average of 155 per year on year since 2020. So this year already, 140 plus already since, and we've still got 21 days before the end of the year.
Wow.
So it's around 9.86, but I say around, just call it 10 per day.
Yeah. It's pretty shocking.
And of course, we lost six lives on our roads already this year. By this time last year, we would have lost 10 persons on our road. In totality, we lost 14 people on our roads last year. So the holiday period, which is, it's good to have the team on here looking at all of the preventative activities over the festive period, because December was a really, really tragic month. In 2024, we lost 4 people on our roads alone in December last year.
Yeah, I remember that. And I think we actually had a record where we had in a 24-hour period 2 deaths from totally separate incidents. I mean, that was the first time that had ever happened. So we're really not trying to have a repeat of of last year for sure, because that was not a good year. So, that's why the Arrive Alive campaign 345 is going around and doing their media junket to really just remind people about the importance of road safety and, not drinking and driving. So averaging 10 a day really seems like a lot. There was a couple yesterday even that I saw, one in Bodden Town that looked like, that happened kind of later on in the afternoon. That was pretty bad. What is the number one, if you had to say, what is the number one cause based on your investigations and reports that you have available to you? What's really going on in our roadways? Are people just that careless? Are they on their phones? Is it the DUIs? What's going on?
So the biggest cause really is that careless or inconsiderate driving. That is really predominantly what's the main cause of road traffic collisions. Yes, we do have DUIs, but when you look at the bulk of the majority of our demand as far as road traffic collisions are because people are just not paying attention. And it's just simple little tips like, for instance, when you come to a stop sign, for goodness sakes, just stop. When you come to a giveaway, rather than driving straight through the giveaway, make sure that the other sides, the road users, it's clear to go through the giveaway. Changing lanes now that we've got 2 lanes and 3 lanes, and just paying attention. It's almost as if you got to drive for the next person.
Yeah,
I know in my own personal capacity, I drive for the other person in front of me, the other person behind me, the other person, because the reality is I just don't trust drivers on the road. So I need to drive for them. And I think that's the only how you can safely maneuver a car out there. It's really difficult. And it's important I get this message across because quite often it's always blaming on the government, blaming on the police. And actually, the one thing that is not being, that drivers not doing is actually taking that personal responsibility that once you get behind the wheel, it's your responsibility if you're in charge of a significant, perhaps a weapon, because a vehicle can be dangerous, equipment if you're not properly using it. So I think I want to get the message here that there is a personal responsibility on drivers.
No, absolutely. I see Minister Kathy Wilkes here agreeing about the defensive driving. She's like, yes, I mean, we feel like sometimes we're in a bit of almost like a video game where the goal is to stay alive, stay out of an accident. And in order to do that, it's like all eyes around you and you've got to remain as alert as possible. So Minister, why were you in such agreement with the fact that, when you're out there, you have to be concerned with what other drivers are doing? It sounds like you've probably had a few experiences of your own.
Well, I think the commissioner put it spot on, which is saying you have to drive for others because a lot of people just simply don't drive well. When you add alcohol to that, it's going to make it even more challenging for you to drive for yourself and others. And that's the reason why the Ministry of Health, Environment and Sustainability and the Ministry of Planning have partnered with the National Drug Council and the Royal Cayman Islands Police, because we want to expand the program this year and hopefully reach more individuals who are planning to go out on New Year's Eve and consume alcohol.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the holiday season tends to bring out a little bit more of a festive time. Although I think that on this island there seems to be quite a few people drinking 24/7. But anyway, we have KK here saying that each bar or club should have them stationed at their location. I'm assuming when there's somebody I'm getting feedback from. So let me just have you, if you're not speaking, just mute your mic for me, so that we can kind of isolate. Yeah, I'm not quite sure whose mic is causing that feedback, but if we go ahead and just Click on that little mute mic. There we go. Beautiful. So if you're not speaking, just keep that muted for me. But I've got a question for the police commissioner, because you say that a lot of times, you guys get the criticism. I'm assuming, KK, when she says have them, I'm assuming the them must be the RCIPS. How realistic is this? Because we see this all the time. Oh, we need more officers on the roadway. We need more officers stationed at bars. I mean, how many bars do we have in Cayman? Do you have any numbers on that, Commissioner Walton?
Okay, so I'm probably sticking my head out here for the Liquor License Board chair, but I certainly know that there are roughly 350 plus liquor licenses. So,
right.
But that may have increased. Sorry, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, I was going to say, if you had to put an officer by every liquor license establishment, you wouldn't have them available to do anything else.
Well, can I just add to it? Because the point there the other day, and I was in a forum and I was asked if I could put a police officer at every single roundabout. And gosh. I said, well, do you know that there are about 30, certainly over 30 roundabouts in the Cayman Islands. And we have 400 miles of roads. So, I mean, I get this information because we work close to the National Road Safety Committee. So I'm aware of some of the data in terms of our roads and the like. So so the answer is not more police officers at every single street corner, because the reality is that traffic is one of my top priorities, but it's among a number of competing demands as well. So your point there, it would be near impossible, if not impossible, to have a police officer outside every single bar, a police officer at every roundabout, a police officer on every stretch of mile on the roads. It's not the way to do it. And it's why within the National Road Safety Committee, we're looking at other alternative options. So that's why we have the 3 E's when we speak of engineering. So how do we design out road traffic collisions? How do we look at other methods in terms of the education around drink driving, look at legislation then that in terms of what would change the culture of people thinking it's okay to go out, drink, get drunk, get behind a car. But there's a wider, broader issue in terms of transportation, which is, I suppose is for a different forum. But and then, we're looking at the speed cameras, looking at demerit points, so that all of that, I think that cumulative type of approach. Of course, there's no way the police can remove, ourselves from that equation. Absolutely not. We are the enforcers of the law. So, but it's just a matter of how we then prioritize our resources in looking at some of these issues around road collisions and drink drive and the like. So, I do think that there is some other educational options which we'll certainly be looking at, and I've done some research around looking at the liquor licenses, I suppose, that and certainly have already had a discussion with the chair about so you've got these packs where each establishment can basically, you can test yourself at these establishments and to see whether or not you should even be drinking another drink. So there are other options, I think. And I think it's a combination of all of that to change the mindset and change the culture.
All right. We do have a listener on the phone line, caller to the program. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Morning, Auntie Sandy. Good morning to the panel.
Morning, Johan.
Minister Milk and Commissioner Walton. Thanks so much for making yourselves available. Great topic. Just a quick question or comment for Commissioner. Commissioner Walton, as you know, all of us are rooting for you. We're proud of you and your appointment as Commissioner. We want to see you succeed and take the RCIPS to the highest standards possible. Confident that you can achieve that, knowing who you are and how you've lived your life and the way you've conducted yourself after many decades with the RCIPS. Just wanting to ask something of you, sir. I'm not sure if it's your department that's responsible for this or something else. You see those electronic bicycles that everybody seems to be using, We're talking about road safety. The greatest threat to Caymanian drivers right now, I think, are those people that have those bikes because they're fearless, and those machines operate at a speed of at least 30, 40 miles an hour, and it's only a matter of time before somebody gets hurt or somebody's vehicles are damaged. Would it be possible for you to recommend that those persons using them and also the machinery, the electronic EV bikes, whatever they're called, have to go through a licensing process and have to have insurance, because it's only a matter of time before some significant damage happens to persons and properties? And more importantly, the persons that are using this, if you are ever on the roadways, especially during going home time or coming or going to school in the mornings, it is chaos, and somebody's going to get hurt and somebody's property is going to get damaged. So please, 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 as a concerned citizen, can you and Minister Wilkes please get yourselves together and figure out how we limit and license or regulate the usage of the electronic bikes before something bad really happens. Thanks a lot for your help. Have a good day, guys.
Thank you so much, Johan. Appreciate it. I do remember, I think it was the minister, J. Ebanks, who road works falls under his responsibility. I do remember him saying something about trying to regulate those e-bikes and I don't know what else they're called, but you know, the e-bikes and the little scooters a bit more than they are currently. So yes, Minister Wilkes.
Thank you, Sandra. I just wanted to say that that is something that Minister Jay has been championing, and we're working on, he's working with his team to bring some changes as it relates to the regulations of persons who have e-bikes and also the requirement to license them. So it is something that the government is working on. And to the commissioner's defense, he can't do anything, his team can't do anything if it isn't in legislation. So we're working on that. Just before you come off, it was something that I jotted a note down because I thought that the commissioner touched on something that speaks to me as it relates to culture. And I know Commissioner said that there's a lot of individuals who would like the police to be at every single bar. That's one of the reasons why I jumped behind this campaign as minister, because my observation is that we have a real big job to do with making a culture shift here in Cayman. You know, it's a common trend. You know, Commissioner, the fact that you said that persons would need to blow into this device at some of these functions to determine if they should drive, when simply, if you're going to have more than one drink, you should, as our campaign speaks about, designate before you celebrate. If you know you're going to a party and you know you're going to have more than a glass of wine with your dinner, then have someone pick you up. So that's one of the reasons why this campaign is so important. Even though it's just for New Year's Eve, we're trying to get people accustomed to making arrangements in the absence of having a robust public transport system, which I think I can speak for Minister Jay and say that's the reason why he got behind it, because he's busy working on the public transport system, and in the absence of having that function in the way that he envisions it to function, he's gotten behind the campaign. So I just wanted to chime in that area.
Yes.
I appreciate that, Minister. What I will say there, if I could just add, so I mentioned culture. It's really the mindset, because I think globally it was almost acceptable 25 years ago. Drink driving was almost acceptable. Everybody does it. So it's just going to be, you know, you go to court, lose your license for 12 months and you get your license back. Whereas we need to move away from that mindset in terms of how people think about this. It is totally unacceptable. I think that's the position that we need to take. And then I know sometimes I may come across a bit abrasive at times, but my view really is we need to sometimes, the only way to get people to change that mindset is to force them to change, knowing, and I don't want to put the minister on the spot, but my view has always been, I've said it before, maybe it's time to look whether or not drunk driving should be a criminal offense in the Cayman Islands. And that will immediately shift your mindset. Do I want a criminal offense? Because one, it impacts on my ability to travel. I can't travel. Certainly, you can't enter the United States of America, which is, as you all know, an hour away from us, with a criminal offense. I'm not saying that that's the answer, but sometimes it's just looking how we change that mindset that in terms of making that totally unacceptable. And then certainly, I'm a big proponent of causing death by drunk driving and what that should look like in terms of mandatory minimum sentence. I don't have the answer for what I think the sentence should be. But surely, if you lost a loved one, whether it's a sibling, whether it's just a family member, but caused by a drunk driver, surely you would want to see justice done for your family member. And my view has always been, no one should do under 5 years imprisonment. It's never. I've never changed that thought process. But again, that's a matter in terms of legislation. But I say all of that in terms of changing the culture, in terms of that getting behind the wheel while drunk. And sometimes you almost have to force that change as far as that culture.
Yes. All right. We do have a caller in the line joining the conversation. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra. Good morning to all of your guests.
Good morning.
I want to just agree with the last caller. I think it was Mr. Rohan, about the e-bikes and the e-scooters. They're tearing down the road here in West, right here on Birch-Tree Hill Road, the road that turns into Conch Point, that goes down by Papagallo, and also on Captain Reginald Drive when you make your right-hand turn there by Conch Point. It's total madness. I keep saying, I know the police cannot be everywhere. The vehicles are bad enough. They are driving with tail lights out, smoking ganja in the car. You can smell it as they pass, phones up in their hand. They're just tearing down these 3 roads here in West Bay. And these are roads that I walk daily, twice a day. And it is sad to see it in the morning when the school buses are out, in the afternoon, and at night. At night, oh my God, they're going down the road screaming in the day and night. 4 o'clock the other morning, I hear this music, this vulgar music going down the road here on Birch-Tree Hill. We need the madness of the music to stop. The police, they have to start just stopping these persons operating these vehicles, blasting this loud music day and night. This has been talked about by the MPs on Radio Cayman show too a couple months ago. It is just total madness. We are living in a time where we have people here, my own people and foreigners, that just don't care about the roadway and how they operate on the road. And like the caller said, it is going to be hell when somebody gets killed innocently from the madness that is taking place on our roads. And, I know the police cannot be everywhere. And Mr. Walton, I applaud you for what you are doing, but we have to get an immediate stop to this madness with these e-bikes and e-scooters, because they are the biggest problem, along with the rest of the road users not following. But if you can nip that in the bud before this Christmas season is over, I beg you, I ask you to do so. Just down the road yesterday, there's one young man that just comes, and before he turns into his apartment complex, he's about a half a mile down the middle of the road, in the middle of the road, and the traffic got stopped for him behind him till he makes his turn that half a mile up. This is the madness they're carrying on with, and innocent people are going to get killed. I had a conversation with an ex-police officer here in West Bay yesterday evening. She begged me to be careful on the road. She even said to me, if you need a vest, I will get one for you. I said, no, I'm getting one this week, because these people don't see the bright flashlight you have.
Wow.
They don't see anything. I have a flashlight that I paid $39 for this flashlight. It's a rechargeable one, and it zooms 1,000 luminaires. It is bright as heck, and you can zoom in and shine it. And the cars don't see you. They just don't pay attention. They're, like the commissioner says, it is inconsiderate operators of vehicles on the roadways that are the biggest problem. I see these fancy Mercedes Benz and these fancy Audi people dropping off children down at this daycare here in West Bay on Conch Point Road. They're coming in with their cell phones on in their hand and they're flying out with their cell phones in their hand. How are you supposed to operate? I'm going to end with this. Mr. Walton, the bus drivers, the public transport bus drivers are horrible. They have a camera in their vehicle. They have their phone app. They have one had a tablet on his lap, and then he had the tablet on the screen. He is paying attention to all four of those while he's operating a bus with me on it. And he's swiping the tablet, touching the phone, talking on the phone. The man not paying no attention to the roadway. I have spoken to numerous amount of them. You know what I get? Shut your mouth. You're an old miserable man, young. These are the attitudes these bus drivers have. And the public transport board has to do something because someone is going to lose their life. If one of these bus drivers go down these roads screaming and gets in an accident, like I've told them, when they kill the passengers, I sure hope they got their mother insurance to cover the damage that is going to be done. So I'm begging, can we please, Minister Catherine Ebanks-Wilkes, can we please get some action? Mr. Commissioner Walton, Kurt Walton, can you please put a presence somehow on Birch Tree Hill Road from the time it starts from that turn by Captain Joe and Osbert all the way down on Conch Point Road and Captain Reginald Drive. Please give us some kind of peace down here because you have mothers with little babies, 4 months old, walking, and the cars are screaming down, the vehicles screaming down the road. It is a disaster waiting to happen, and somebody's going to get killed here in West Bay on these roads. So I'm
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a great day.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean.
Can I interject?
Sure.
Okay, so just quick, because a lot of questions coming my way as I expected. I suppose to the caller, and probably I didn't answer the previous caller, which obviously the caller talked about the e-bikes. So if I could just speak about that,
yes.
then the others. What I will say is that issue really is e-bikes and micro mobility devices. So what I will say, that's work in progress already. And what I'm expecting is certainly by January 2026 that we will be prosecuting these people for various traffic offenses. So what I will tell you right now is, first of all, they have to obey the rules of the road. They have to be 17 years of age to be on one of these e-bikes. They will have to have a category 0 or 2 license to operate. They will have to be registered, licensed, and insured, no different than all of us here who has either a car or a truck or a motorbike. No different. They will be treated no different as a vehicle, any vehicle on the road. And so we are about to launch a education campaign about e-bikes because if I'm honest, they just sort of flooded our streets. So there's a commercial value. There's a commercial value to these e-bikes, obviously. And then I guess, and suppose it was seen as commercial value, but also probably seen as a way to maybe relieve some of the stress on the roads as far as cars and everything else. But certainly they will be treated no different than a vehicle on the road. So those individuals can look forward to basically being prosecuted as if they were driving a car without a license. If you didn't have a license in that particular category, either 0 or a 2, if it's not insured. So it has to take the same approach, legal roadworthy approach to be on a road. So that's breaking news, but I'm just letting you know here. And I know you got a big audience on here, so I'm just letting you know that now.
Yes,
so that answers, and I thank the caller for it. The issue around the issues in Birch Tree Hill is probably the common complaints that I get island wide? And the answer simply is yes, we can put police officers there, but I wholeheartedly believe, obviously in the interim we can do so, but wholeheartedly I feel the speed cameras will change the driving culture in terms of speeding on our roads. And I have to say, that the Minister of Plahi, and I'm just so grateful to be working with a real passionate, determined bunch of people around that National Road Safety Committee who are looking at this issue. So obviously it can't happen overnight because in the end, it is a huge infrastructure around speed cameras, which includes money, but it will happen. And so CO Bush and the team within Plahi is driving that, obviously well supported by Minister J.E. Banks as his ministry. So a lot of work is going on. I know we're talking about here, and I don't want to fully disclose it because really I don't want to steal anyone's thunder, but I just want to really step up and say that the Ministry of Plahi is really doing a lot, and speed cameras will be coming to Cayman. There's no doubt it will be coming. It just won't happen in January 2026. There's work ongoing around that. Yeah.
Yes.
The caller, I think, also mentioned about loud music. I think in terms of the music in the cars and the like, and that's another big area for me is looking at. It falls under the Public Health Act in terms of that basically is a public nuisance. The big issue, which we would enforce, of course, the big issue there at the moment is how do you measure the decibel levels? So putting a team together, what happened in December, but certainly looking at January onwards to look at working with Cabinet Minister Wilkes and our team, our Premier, and looking at what we can do to draft regulations around noise pollution. And because we are inundated with noise complaints, average of 80 per month, whether it's loud music outside, just generally loud music. So it takes up a lot of police time. And generally speaking, we tell people to turn the music down. We serve them certain notices. But in reality, we need a proper measuring device, that decibel measuring device. And we do have, Department of Environmental Health has, but it's pointless using a piece of equipment when there's no regulation in terms of how to use that in terms of what. So, but again, it's work ongoing. There's a whole lot. There's I suppose a multiplicity of issues in Cayman that we have to resolve. We just can't resolve all of it. So,
yeah. So we've got a lot of questions coming in on social media as well. Commissioner Walton, of course, you're always popular when you come on the program. That just reminds me that you need to come on more often, because I must tell you that the bulk of these questions are actually directly for you. But we will get into just in a minute here, reminding all of you about the details of the Arrive Alive campaign, which is the primary reason for our guest being here today. But we have Ms. Marjorie saying, Sandra, that is a good survey question. Should we make drunk driving a criminal offense? I agree that we should. It takes away innocent lives. That's one interesting perspective. But we see Anthony, and this is where, I guess the culture of driving is different, because I saw a comment here, Anthony, somewhere. I'm just trying to see if I can put my finger on it again. Anthony is saying, wasn't the commissioner young once? As though, right. Does that excuse? Here we go. Kurt talking like a foreigner now to oppressing Caymanians more with criminalizing drunk driving. He was young too. I'm a little bit shocked by this, Anthony, coming from you. But how do you address this? I mean, I think that this speaks directly to the culture of drunk driving, where young people feel like, oh, it's just part of growing up that you drink and drive. And so many of them are losing their lives in our streets that I'm surprised that anybody would say, why criminalize this? That it's okay because you're young. But this is something that could potentially take your life, where you're not going to make it out of your youthfulness. because you're drinking and driving. Do you have an age breakdown, Commissioner, on the road deaths so that we can get an idea of who's actually killing themselves in our roadways?
Well, what I can say is that the bulk of road deaths are between age 26 and 60. Surprisingly, we have less young people between obviously driving age of 17 and 25. And I'm going back over the past 6 years, so 2020. When I look back to 2020, we've had, in fact, let me give you the numbers just to make sure we could get accurate. So between age 17 and 25, 14 young persons would have lost their lives on our streets over that period. Whereas, we would have had 44 between age 26 and 60 thereabouts, and 60. And we had a few persons who would be considered our elder folks from age 65 on. But that's really where we see the bulk. And I was actually surprised when I saw the stats, because we typically think it's young people between age 17 and 25 that are losing their lives. We do have, as I said, there were 14 over the past 6 years. But that bulk of individual persons but he's still young in your 20s, 26 to 60, we're the bulk of our, persons who have lost their lives on our roads. I suppose, I think the previous message there in terms of, I was young once, but the reality is that there's no excuse. It can't be seen as acceptable that we're okay getting in cars drunk and driving home because we're 25 years of age. That can't be seen as acceptable. And reality is, if I've spent 38 years in this police service, and even up to deputy commissioner, I was going out on the roads, and I've been to some of these road fatalities, and I can tell you, if you've seen half the stuff that I've seen, and I've gone to a funeral with a 19-year-old, and it's you see the hurt in parents' faces, you see the hurt in families. Then you'll understand why I take the stance that I take. And until I suppose those persons who have seen it, feel it, and we live this day out and day in, and so we see the tragedy and the hurt and the families' faces when they lose loved ones, and it's just we have to just take an approach, a strong stance, draw a line in the sand that it's totally unacceptable. It can't be seen. And I know it's difficult in Cayman as far as the road transportation system, but I have no control over that. When I want to go out and have dinner, and I want to have 2 glasses of wine, I have to hire a taxi, and I can tell you it's expensive. It's very expensive. I won't tell you what I have to pay before I even go out and get back. It's very expensive. So there's probably a separate conversation around that. No doubt. But it is,
Yeah. All right. We have a call in the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Morning.
Morning.
I believe that when young people get a driver's license, they should be made to sit and watch a video of a fatal crash. I don't think any young person should believe that this is a minor issue. I think all emphasis needs to be placed on how serious this is, the life-changing consequences of what they believe are just simple decisions. And I agree with the idea that certain circumstances should be a criminal offense, because it is very, very serious. It's hard to just, in words, just saying it like this doesn't mean the same thing as when you see either a fence post going through someone's chest or whatever, right?
Yes.
we need, this is a serious problem that needs to be addressed. Driving in the Cayman Islands is atrocious. And I'm going to say it very plainly. Many of the people that I see driving, like crazy, they're not, it's not limited to young people, right? And we really need to get a handle on it. I would, you know what, if necessary, have a program where if citizens who see something happening, capture it on video, can report it to the law, be able to deal with that. If it could be dealt with in that way, then maybe we'll get more reports, and that might help calm people's behavior on the roads. Because I mean, I've had people in roundabouts blowing at me because they want to change lane and I'm in their way. It's like it's almost, it's insanity the way that some people are driving. But we need to get a handle on it, because it's going to, and speaking of this, I want to know what's happening to the 17-year-old, because that's an issue that we can't have issues crop up and then it's like they go into this black hole and we don't hear anything more about it. We need things dealt with on a more timely basis.
Right.
It's just like if there's perceived to be no consequences for actions,
right,
people do all sorts of things. So
so that matters now before the courts. I already know what the commissioner's going to tell you. He's going to tell you that matters now before the courts, and so the judiciary has to take its course, and you just have to, watch that process as it goes through the court system.
Yeah, but I just emphasize that I agree. This is a very this idea of drunk driving is a serious problem that nobody should take lightly. I support that.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Before we get back to you, Commissioner Walton, I do know that Minister Wilkes, I think they're actually in Parliament this week, and I know she's got a few things that she needs to, get to. So, Minister, let's just talk about the campaign. I think we lost Simon. I'm not really sure what happened there, but let's just talk about the Arrive Alive 345 campaign. And in lieu of Simon not being here, Miss Angela, you can certainly jump in and talk about how the campaign is going to work. Give us, the dates that the campaign is running for and all those pertinent details.
Go ahead. Is Minister going to speak?
Yes, go ahead, Minister.
Oh, well, I'm going to leave the logistics for you, Miss Angela, to share with everyone. Again, what I was talking about yesterday with Simon when we were on Compass TV was just talking a bit about how persons in the community can identify the buses. So the buses are going to be going throughout the whole island and also in Cayman Brac. And Miss Angela, you might want to share a little bit more about the details on the purple flashing lights. That's how you can identify these buses. And I was looking to see if I had a note here on the route, but you probably might have the locations. Do you have that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you can share a bit more about that. But what I'm happy about is with the participation of the ministries this year, it's just not a main road route. Now the buses are actually going down into the arteries. It actually is encouraging persons who are going out. You could literally can get a bus right from your front door or close to your front door. So I think that one of the questions that was posed to me yesterday, is this something that we would be trying to roll out more frequently? Well, what we want to encourage the public to uptake the program for the New Year's Eve, and certainly we will look at rolling it out on other occasions until we get to a place. Commissioner Walton did touch on how expensive it is to hire a taxi. So we know that that's probably a deterrent for people who are going out and want to have a drink. So that's the importance of this campaign, this holiday season. But I'll leave Miss Angela. She knows all of the logistics on what the National Drug Council has been working on. And just before I go, I want to just take a minute to give them a shout out, Director Brenda and all of her team, and also our outgoing council members who've been working hard to ensure that a campaign such as this, Arrive Alive, not only continues but continues to evolve into something that we hope the public will be able to benefit from. And also to Commissioner and his team, they work hard all year round. They get beat up a lot, but certainly we appreciate you, Commissioner, and all that you're doing. And with that, Miss Sandra, I am going to take my leave and prepare for Parliament
Okay.
this morning. Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone,
thank
and
you.
have a
Thank you
great
so
day.
much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Minister. Okay, so yeah, lots of questions, Miss Angela. Let's go ahead and just review for the benefit of our listeners all the details surrounding the Arrive Alive campaign. So how can people ensure that they take advantage of the available routes?
Okay, well, let me say good morning, and just let me extend an apology. Simon had to go to another event, and there's
Okay.
only 6 of us who sits in this office, so we
Yes.
do stretch ourselves out quite a bit. In
Mhm.
terms of the AA345, I think I just wanted to start by saying that the campaign has been going now for 25 years. So we have taken a lot of data, we've collected a lot of information. We have worked over the years with the police very closely. So we tend to know what shifts we need to make. We have gone from a few buses to we're now at a maximum. So last year we had 18 buses that basically ran on the main roads. So if you were, for example, in West Bay by the lighthouse Bosun Bay, you could literally travel from West Bay as far as East End, free of cost on New Year's Eve, right? And just making transfers. So the buses would come down, loop around at various points, and take you through the entire Cayman Islands and Cayman Brac. However, we've recognized with all the discussion that we are hearing this morning, the importance of getting people closer to their doors. And hence, what we have done this year is introduce 6 buses that kind of take you in those residential routes. So we've looked at areas that are densely populated, and this is a pilot project. So people now who are living in the Birch Tree Hill. So while I may give you one road, it is a zone area, and persons can go on our website or scan any of our barcodes, and they're going to get living maps as to how to maneuver the bus routes. But the bus routes now are in the Birch Tree Hill area, the Mount Pleasant area, the Windsor Park area, Prospect, Newlands, and Belford Estate. So we've tried our best to see how we can start getting persons as close to their door as possible. The buses that are inside of the residential area literally come out and meet the buses on the main road. So it's almost like a transport service that we are providing. Persons can go on our website and see the maps and get an idea as to how they can loop, how they can maneuver on January the 31st, New Year's Eve night. We have 2 buses in the BRAC, and we also have what we would call an express limo bus, and that takes you from I think, Kempton. It stops at all the major hotels, and anyone on island can go to the entrance of the major hotels and drive the limo free. it cannot maneuver into all the smaller areas simply because of the size, but it is an opportunity for those who would like to have a nice limo drive to hop on. And that particular bus will just be going up and down West Bay Road. It will pick persons up at the beach entrance, so it won't go right into Kempton. It would be like at 7 Mile Beach entrance there, just simply because of the size. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've also partnered with Cabby, which is a taxi company, and they have a unique app that engages. So if it was that they did not have a plan and they were on one of our buses and wanted to go into another residential area that we are not covering, they can again go on our website, scan the barcode, make contact with Cabby, which is a taxi service, and they will come and pick them up immediately from any area that they are and take them as home. So to home. So we have done as much as we can to ensure that persons are able to have a good time, party, and be safe. But I think one of the things that we want to emphasize is this year we started the campaign in October. And the reasons being was we started talking about designated driving, selecting a designated driver, and the importance of people making um, adequate choices. We recognize that there needs to be a mind shift. There needs to be a mind shift. And we keep saying the same way we all plan to go to a party, we plan to go to an event, we do our nails, we do our hair, we buy our tickets. Going out to party or going out for dinner should have the same concept. We plan, have a plan, who is your driver? What does that driver look like? What are the rules surrounding that driver? And it's those kind of things that will help that mind shift. We can't always think, it's police, it's government. It is for us as a community to understand that there needs to be a mind shift, whether you're 17, 60, once you're a driver or once you're a parent, you should be able to have conversations with your family, your children, about making responsible choices. So we
Thank
encourage
you.
you, go on our website, check the barcode, and it will give you an in-depth route of all the buses and the routes.
Well, appreciate it. Just give us the URL for the website again, just so that people can remember.
www.ndc.ky.
All right, folks. So check out their website, please. You can scan the QR code and then it will give you more details. We have put up by request, we have put up a straw poll here, whether or not DUI should be criminalized. It's a very, very good question. Miss Angela, you can continue to hang out here with us if you'd like. Commissioner Walton, can you just take some more questions from our listeners? We got, like I said, quite a few that are coming in around the driving and safety, road safety issues. So here is one that says, hi, Sandy, could you please ask Mr. Walton, have they changed the law that people on bikes and e-bikes are no longer required to wear helmets? Was that ever a law to begin with?
Okay, so it was. So all of this we're actually looking at, and I suppose the issue on e-bikes, and probably for the question here on e-bikes, I mentioned earlier that pretty much what we're looking at starting January 2026 is treating e-bikes, legally speaking, under the law, no different from any other vehicles. So that's where we're moving to.
Now,
I think, is it okay if there was a, somehow or another missed this, there was a caller speaking of, caller coming in from West Bay about the Birch Tree Hill, and I think there was a
comment too that came in about that area. Yes.
But there was a bit in there that he mentioned, which the person mentioned whether think they mentioned that they were in a taxi and the individuals got devices and they're paying attention to the devices.
The public transport drivers, yes.
All I would say there is, if you have your camera, your phone, if you video that when that's happening, you sat back there videoing it, and you get that to us, we can actually issue it. We can actually issue a ticket. Because I get some of these occasionally, and all I do is give them to my traffic inspector, and they go and issue a ticket. It would be no different. I suppose an example would be if you saw a car parked in a disabled bay, I suppose, and that person has not a proper permit tag that is on the windscreen to park there, and you bring that to me, we can actually issue a ticket. Of course, we would see if that person has a legal right to park there. So because that is still capturing the evidence that gives us, you've seen it, you videoed it, here's this driver not paying attention, they're on their phone, they're doing whatever, they're on their tablet, we can still go ahead. And it sounds like that, for me, that individual needs to be reported into the Public Transportation Board. That's what it sounds like. In addition to what I've just said, in addition to that, the enforcement aspect of it, but there should be, I would report that directly into the Public Transportation Board on top of issuing a ticket.
Yeah. Speaking of some of these drivers, I'm going to show you the evidence of one that we've just received that you can now ticket. You can deal with. But this is right, and this is why we always say here, we have Mr. Dexter on the line, so we're going to grab his call as well. But that's the beauty of these dash cams. I keep telling you guys, not just because I'm now offering them that I'm telling you to go get a dash cam. I've been saying it long before. The only reason that because I have one in every single one of our vehicles, because I know they work, and I know that the information that they capture is very, very useful to the RCIPS. That's why I start saying, let me make this available to people, because a lot of people want a good, decent dash cam and don't know how to get it. But however you can get one, capture this information for the police, because once you have it, these dash cams come with the remote, so you don't have to, you just press that button, it takes a still photo of what's in front of you. So this is so critical. But have a look at this driver. I mean, here we are this morning talking about road safety, and yet we have people on our roadways who just don't care. And this is a perfect example. Look at this guy. He pulls over in this big vehicle. Obviously, he would be your jackass of the day, nominee winner here this morning. Pulls over to go to Burger King. Someone just witnessed him on busy West Bay Road. Get out. He's gone to get his breakfast fixed at Burger King. No problem with that. But you cannot pull over in a public roadway like this, because now this other driver is saying, Sandy, I can't see oncoming traffic. Oh, this is Red Bay. My apologies. I thought it was West Bay Road. No, this is Red Bay. Can't see oncoming traffic. Also, they need to do a campaign on the proper way to change lanes. But Commissioner, this is what we're dealing with on our roadways. I mean, this is a perfect example of what on earth? They don't care. Now, when this person gets a ticket and his company's notified that this is what he's out here doing in the company vehicle, maybe then he'll care, because there's plenty and ample room for him to pulled in there by the gas station to be able to get his morning breakfast, his morning coffee, whatever it is, sandwich, whatever he's going for. He doesn't have to pull off on the public roadway, right?
That is absolute obstruction. That's that's the public. From what I can see, that's the extreme outer left lane, because there are 3 lanes along there, and then it's blocking. If you're exiting the gas station or Burger King, it prevents you from seeing oncoming traffic. So it actually endangers any traffic user coming out of that property. So that's clear obstruction. And I just took a screenshot. I'm going to send it to my inspector now to go and issue a ticket. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, just unbelievable. All right, Mr. Dexter's been patiently waiting. Good morning, Mr. Dexter. How are you?
Good morning, Sandy, and your panel. It's an interesting subject this morning. Coming back to the those little strollers or whatever you want to call them,
e-bikes and scooters.
Where you got, we have to remember, I think it was Moxon that called in, and he's putting down, it's about us and them type of thing. My suggestion is that it should be mandatory that everyone that is using these e-bikes or those one with the little handlebar and you stand on it, should be compelled to have a reflective jacket on in the nights. Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the road. I'm on the road more than now that I'm totally retired. I'm on the road lots of times, and most of these drivers, most of these riders are always riding as safe as they can.
Mm.
But it's the drivers that don't have the respect for these road users as well.
Mm. Okay.
You know, it's sad that we don't want to take away them because most of these people are foreign nationals that is the main mode of transportation, and $2 to them means a lot. And if they can save that, to save up and buy a little e-bike, why should we not try to make it as safe as possible for them? Now, another thing that they need to do is to have proper lights on these vehicles, because they're not. A lot of these does not have any lights at all.
Mm.
And another thing is that if you're running in the nights, it's only God's mercy that people that are running in the nights using black clothes are not. You don't wear black clothes in the dark road. That's stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so these are the things that we need to take that need to be come into effect right away. If you are a runner, a bicycle user, or a moped or whatever, you should have on a reflective jacket.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Dexter. I really appreciate those comments. Someone said that you're an OG traffic officer. Is that right?
I did.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Just to say, I've passed that photo on to my inspector. Just gonna make sure he sees it. So
I saw you taking a call there. We got one more for you. I mean, we get them.
And I think for absolute clarity, just to make sure, because I think it was said a couple of times, you are required under law to wear a safety helmet on motorbikes, scooters, e-bikes. That's really part of it.
Yeah, you should wear them on any sort of bicycle. I mean, come on, you know, even my daughter, sometimes she doesn't want to put on her, you know, when she's younger, she have to do the knee pads and the elbow pads. Like we put everything on her, right? She's like, Mom, why do I have to wear all this? I said, well, you're going to fall. That's part of learning how to ride a bicycle. And we're just trying to make it safer for you that when you fall, hopefully both knees won't get skin up. It might just be one. So
we've all been there.
Absolutely. And here's another person this morning just observed parking in a blue spot, and it's another company vehicle. It's like these people don't seem to care if they're in a company vehicle. So perhaps you could also pass this one along. I'll forward these to you, Commissioner, in WhatsApp, but pass this one along to your team as well, because the blue spot violators, it's just so disrespectful that they do not care about the people who actually need to utilize these spots. I can tell you, the person who sent this photo to us, she is actually a person who, you know, has a sticker for blue spot. So, you know, she's probably sitting there waiting for them to move to be able to take that spot. But it's just so incredibly disrespectful. And they do it time and time again. And that is also an offense. That's one of those offenses that in the budget they should have increased as well. And I'm not sure if they did, but they most certainly should have. So we have another caller, but let's squeeze in perhaps one of our comments or questions here. So this person saying, good morning. Can you ask the commissioner if they plan to do a WhatsApp channel so persons who don't have other social media can follow them? So WhatsApp channel requests for the RCIPS. You can just jot that one down, I think.
I think so, yeah. We'll just take all of that away. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Slew of questions and comments from this person. They say, morning, Sandy. Do the police still utilize their cops and motorbikes to monitor the road? So we actually were, this came up yesterday about your ATVs. Do you still have ATVs and motorbikes and bicycles that the RCIPS are utilizing?
We still have our motorbikes. In fact, if anyone on here or the audience were in the marathon over the weekend, they would have seen our motorbikes in action. So we do have motorbikes. I've obviously with the budget, I'm looking to increase our traffic department, our traffic officers in there. So one of my ambition there is also increase the amount of motorbike riders, because it is really useful. It's good utility in terms of being able to be ahead of those traffic congestion. And I suppose I think there was another question in there. Did I miss that? The ATVs. Sorry, yeah. So the ATVs. So it's one of the issues there with the ATVs is the use of those on the beach. They were primarily purchased a few years ago for community policing, patrolling the beach, and the community policing program. We did run into a bit of an issue around the turtle nesting and the like. So that posed a problem for us. So that was probably one of the main reasons why we removed it from our fleet, from the beach in particular. I'm looking at ways to, certainly for community policing, to get our officers on the beach, and so some of that, again, looking towards probably giving too much information, but my ambition is to have within community policing, is to have a tourism police product, if I could put it that way. So we actually have visible policing seen in our high traffic tourist areas. Obviously seen where the Deputy Premier mentioned that we are expecting an increase in cruise tourism in 2026. So I'm trying to plan for those sort of, demands. So, and look at what that looks like as far as officers' attire, the type of clothing that they wear, because I don't think officers should be patrolling and walking the beach, dressed in your normal attire. So you got to fit for purpose and the like. So, so we do have the ATVs still, but that issue has caused us to have to remove them.
I see. Okay. All right. Yeah. Understood. Do the people that lose their driver's licenses have to retake their written and driving tests before getting it back? So I think this is more an issue for the court, because I've sat in traffic court enough to see when the courts, the magistrates take someone's license, they do actually put a caveat in there a lot of times that they have to redo the test. So yes, the courts can certainly order that. The crazy thing about it, though, is you wonder how they got a license to begin with, the way that they're out there pretending and acting. Because sometimes I listen to these magistrates and they themselves are shocked. Like, why are you breaking all of these laws? Do you not understand the road code? Like, what on earth are you doing? So this person goes on to say that you need driver's education should be mandatory before getting a license. And the least we can do is to make a criminal offense for people who kill someone in a hit and run. That I think is a criminal offense. That's a little bit different. And then hope they can answer the question about the license being retaken. So hopefully that helps, but that is more a matter for the court, because remember, it's not the RCIPS that's going to take your license. They will issue you a ticket or proceedings for the DPP's office to then recommend prosecution, and then they take you to court. So that is really a matter for the courts.
What I can say there, it is a matter for the courts. There are occasions where the court, depending on the circumstances, will take someone's license in abeyance. So basically, they've taken your license on until that means in abeyance means you have to go and reset your whole driving test. Yeah. So that there are occasions that has happened, but normally it's you've lost your license and for a period, a disqualification period, whether that's a year, 2 years, and then you get it back after that period of disqualification.
All right. Really good. Let me just see here. They said the court should be more consistent in taking the license away. All right. Someone said, I'm glad you brought up this topic today. I meant to message you yesterday to say that I would be calling in to the show this morning. This is absolutely ridiculous. These people are inexperienced drivers or riders, and clearly if someone hits them, then they would be at fault. This man just pulled out right in front of me while I was driving. They'll say that I'm wrong for being on my phone, and I agree. I need to get a dash cam one day. So they actually took a picture, and let me see what they've sent us so we can see. And this is the benefit. I mean, again, the police want the evidence, and they can certainly use the evidence, but we don't want you breaking the law to get them the evidence either, or endangering and making it a more unsafe situation. So Scott has a good question. He says, how can we submit dash cam footage to the RCIPS? What is the best method? Now, this is a good question, because I used to send it through to your traffic officers. Oh gosh, let me remember their names now. One is oh Lord. There was two traffic officers that I used to send all of my blue spots reports to, Tahal Indrani and Elaine Bellinger, but I think Officer Tahal is no longer in traffic. So what's the best way or best method of people sending? I think what you should do, Commissioner, you should create like a general email address for submissions of these types of things that are checked on a regular basis. But for the benefit of the public, how can they go about submitting dash cam footage?
So we've got a website at the moment, actually. So you went onto our website, you'll see we have a section there for providing information to the police. Also, we have our we got Instagram, we've got our Facebook account. So there's options there. But I will take away. I think there's probably a more streamlined, structured where we could say, get it in here, and I'll take that away and see how we can improve upon that, and we'll get that message out. We'll get that message out to the public. So okay. I'll take that away and leave that with me. Appreciate it.
Okay, great. Shaka Zulu says Miami beaches have some level of drone patrol day and night on the beaches. Okay, that's interesting.
Well, I'm already thinking. Is that Shaka Zulu? I love that name.
Yeah.
I'm already ahead of that. In fact, I just approved a drone for that same reason on 7 Mile Beach for the Westway Police Station. So planning ahead of the tourist season, the high influx of tourists on the beach. So it's all in train. I could put it that way.
Wonderful. And the good thing about drones is you're capturing footage at the same time as well. So you get your evidence. So those of you criminals out there on the beach selling your ganja, be warned. Let's go ahead and take the caller. Good morning, caller. Thank you for your patience. Welcome to the program.
Yes, I got the patience of Job. Good morning from the Bronx.
Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioner Walton. Hope you're well. Happy Christmas to you and the family.
Good morning. Thank you, and all the best to you and your family.
Thank you, hon. I want to ask you a question. I think this needs to be addressed for the next court appearance. The courts in the BRAC. We are not being secure enough with the courts in Kim and BRAC, Commissioner, please. We need more officers at the courts when it's is in session up here in Kimmenbrack, because the officers that are in the court are actually assisting the judges and the prosecutors in the court. So they really wouldn't have any time to deal with anything malicious going on. And we have to also understand that those that the drug people who are arrested in the BRAC attend the courts up here. So we have to look at the big picture there of safety and security for everybody going to that Ashton Ruddy Center when the court is in session. It is not, the doors are wide open and anybody can walk in and blast the whole place up if they want. And we know we found a whole pile of guns up here in the BRAC the other day. So I'm just asking for you to ask for that, get that additional security put in place, whether you have to talk to the courts about it or hire security or send more officers to the BRAC for the day for court, or the 2 days they have court up here and it's only once a month. So that shouldn't be an issue as far as I'm concerned, but we are now demanding security at the Ashton Ruddy Center when their court is in session. It is very unsafe, to be honest. And I saw that with one of the magistrates there one day, a couple of months ago. She felt very unsafe in that entire environment because there was no police officers that had arrived on time. So I'll leave you to sort that out, but I have one other thing I'm querying. There are a bunch of cameras have now been installed around the BRAC, and I am concerned to find one in the Alta Vista area. That's a residential neighborhood. I thought these cameras was going on the main road arteries because the Alta Vista area is a secondary roadway. It's not a primary roadway. Now, if that's what's also being done, well, fine. But the one that's placed up here on Alfred Scott Road, or Drive, sorry, is not placed on the right area. It needs to be one road down because that's where the school is. And that's just my point of view, and what I see would make more sense putting it there. So, and if they're monitored, are these cameras now being monitored? Are they 24/7 monitored, or they're just there for decoration? I'm just asking because BRACas want to know. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate it. All right. So a couple questions there. The first one, I guess it's not just on mean thorough roads. It could be anywhere that cameras would be useful to the RC IPS, that the CCTV cameras would go up. Is that a correct assumption?
Yes, and I think that provided it is a public thoroughfare, so the public make use of the road, it's considered a public domain. And so you will find cameras as opposed to your main road arteries, whether it's 7 Mile or, well, Shamrock. You do have those offshoots. You will still have, but again, it's a public road, so you will have cameras on those roads, and that is for a variety of reasons. Some of those I don't want to go into operationally, but what I can say is that the cameras are not focused on private residents. I can say that because that changes the whole scope. So the concept is really they operate no different than what's happening on Grand Cayman with the national CCTV program. So the whole operation, the infrastructure of those cameras in the BRAC is basically a smaller model, I suppose, as to what's happening on Grand Cayman.
Yes.
So it's still all managed by the Department of Public Safety within the EM 911. The police has access as well, but it really is a public safety, and I continue to say this, and I will forever say this as long as I'm in this seat. But those CCTV has been one of the most brilliant tools for policing purposes, both for crime and action type situations and certainly investigative tools. They have been very, very good. We literally do not conduct an investigation, whether it's criminal or traffic, without looking for if there's international CCTV. What we do, we work closely with the Department of Public Safety, our 911 colleagues, in terms of identifying locations where we have seen gaps, and we will put recommendation is, because really that project is with the Department of Public Safety. It falls in the Ministry of Home Affairs. So, but we work very close to support, because we are the ones that utilize the tool.
Right.
And so if there are gaps, we provide that information. So what I will do is take away the caller's point there, that there should be somewhere further down as far as the school and the like. So I'll take that away, and we can have another look at it. But as we all know, I think the call for national CCTV in the BRAC has been long overdue. So full credit to our Ministry of Home Affairs colleagues and the Department of Public Safety. I'm very thankful for it.
And to that point, this listener to the program says, no, leave that camera right where it is, because persons are taking these residential roads for racetracks. So they said they're a Cameron-Brac resident. And they want you to leave it right where it is. Let's take a comment.
There's a reason why those cameras are there. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Caller, good morning and welcome to the program. Question or comment for the commissioner this morning?
Good morning, honey child. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Amelia. How you doing?
I am blessed and highly favored beyond all measures. Good morning, Commissioner.
Wonderful.
Commissioner, I am aware that there's CCTV for at the top of Macfield Lane. My question to you is, why isn't it being utilized? And due to the the heavy drug sales over in there at Macfield Square every blessed day in the vicinity of a after school and a senior center. That's one question. Question number two is why I've been asking for police presence or public lands commission officers present once cruise ship is in. We need some sort of authority at our 7 Mile Beach to make our tourists safe, and with all the drug sales and drug usage going on at that beach. I don't know and I don't understand why they do not have an officer from police or from public lands there at the beach. And my final question, PSU. What's the purpose of PSU? Over 2 years, I have been going through an issue with one of your sergeants and has been reported to PSU. And up to this blessed day, it has not been resolved. I think we need another entity investigating police. Gun police should not be covering for police. And more or less what have been happening is that they have been covering up for police. One more thing, sorry. Whenever, I don't know how you're going to work this out, sir, but you have a serious problem within your force. Whenever the police is called regarding top of Macfield Lane, just as you hang up the phone, count down 3 minutes to max. They jump into their vehicle and they take off. 3 minutes to the max. It now happened 1 time, 2 times. Every blessed time you call the police, 3 minutes max. These drug sellers jumps into their vehicle and abandon that location. Why is that? Thank you.
Thank you so much, caller. So I know you're jotting down some questions there, Commissioner, but the one that I wanted to pick up on, she has quite a few. I'm trying to remember which one now that kind of had made me pause for a second there. In relation to the monitoring of these cameras, I think Carrie had the same question. So I know that from the policing perspective, there might be some things that you don't want to say. But if you have cameras there, obviously you have ready access to them, which means that, they are monitored. And especially if there's a reported wrongdoing or incident, you would then be in a position to go back and to pull that footage. Is that an accurate assessment?
Okay, so I suppose it goes back to the earlier caller about cameras in a residential area and how they're being used. So, as you know, there are cameras there, but their purpose is solely for use of the public roads and the like. I think the difficulty I have is to get into a policing tactics or operations in terms of how we make use of those any cameras, I suppose. What I will say is that particular lane, we have had some successful operations in there. We've had some very prolific, renowned drug dealers arrested, significant drugs recovered. In addition, we've seized farms in that same lane. So as far as the issue in terms of what the caller, I suppose, has alleged that 3 minutes after, that's something I'm going to have to take away, and I probably should discuss that off air. I don't think that's something I want to discuss in this forum, but we accept that there are a number of areas that certainly we've had to bring some attention to, as far as whether it's for drug dealing or other nefarious activities. But we have done operations in that, a number of operations in that area. And I suppose we are moving to the flow building. All goes well somewhere between mid-January to mid-February. So, we'll be next door, and we're basically going to be police right in the area. And that was by design, because we know that area is a sometimes just got to design it out by putting the police right in the area. So we'll have an entire police station really next door. But we'll continue to look at that issue, and I do appreciate the caller. The other issue was the public beach.
Yes.
And you heard me mention earlier, my ambition is to have a tourist policing product coming from part of that community policing program. So public beach is, we can't lose public beach. We work closely with our public lands colleagues and trying to provide all the support they need. I know their main focus is on the vendors and the issues there, and we try to support them because of the other illegal activities, whether it's primarily drug sales. We and we are at the moment doing patrols in that area, and unfortunately, with the we had 2 robberies just the north side of the Kempton last week, and it just happened. Those occurred just after our officers had actually had left to go to another section, and it was just unfortunate when those robberies happened. That was on the tourists, but the public beach is certainly top of my agenda, and working with our public lands colleagues continues. As far as the PSU, a professional standards unit, I think the first thing I should say there is, one, when a member of the public make a complaint against a police officer, first and foremost, that is under law. It is the Public Police Complaints Act 2017. That is the ombudsman remit. So it gives that independence that we don't investigate each other. It's the ombudsman office, the ombudsman that investigate the police. And the ombudsman table their report annually, their annual report to before Parliament. And I'm sure that you would have probably read 20, where are we now, 20, going into 20, would have tabled 2024's report. So anyone wanting to see what the ombudsman, I suppose, what they did over 2024 as far as police complaints can certainly go on there and have a look. But they are the entity that investigate us. So we have essentially a police unit independent of us, investigate us. Internally, where there are issues of discipline, so primarily internal, whether it's an issue under the police regs, whether it's some sort of misconduct or officers having failure to turn up for duty, or files have gone statute bar, or failing to obey lawful duties, those type of internal conduct of a police officer, those are handled by the police. So, but if it's a member of the public make a complaint against a police officer, and that police officer, whatever that issue may have been, failing to do their duty, failing to, maybe there's an attitude issue, some of those can be resolved through some sort of informal resolution. So it may be as simple as horrible customer service experience you may have had with a police officer. You can report that in, but it may be if the officer just said, apologize this, or maybe they just had a bad day that day, I'm happy to resolve it that way. So there are options within the Ombudsman Office in terms of the statutory provisions under that act that dispose of those matters. But it's very transparent. It's there for everyone to the public to read. It's required by law to table it at the before Parliament. So the 2024 report will clearly show how many investigations the Ombudsman undertook with the police. And we are, and I'm going to say this, we are the only law enforcement body right now that has someone independent investigating us. So my own view that needs to change, but I know why, because the police, as police officers, we are the front face of law enforcement, and we do come in contact and we do engage people every single day. And it is a job that you restrict people's movement, you impact on people's liberty, so you infringe on people's rights in the sense of, not infringe, but in sense of stopping someone because they're driving bad, or stopping someone because they're suspected of a criminal offense. And so we are the front face of that national security. So it's only right that we have to do our jobs properly, and that there is an independent entity that makes sure that we are professional in the way we do our business.
All right, here's another one I'll be sending through to your traffic officers. A 2-for-1 special. Both of these vehicles were observed yesterday evening, parking in the blue spot right in front of a pharmacy. I mean, my gosh, of all the places that a blue spot is probably really, really needed, is people going to the pharmacy to get their medication. So you got a 2-for-1. Looks like a Honda and I don't know if that's a Nissan or Toyota, but anyway, there you go. Those two vehicles will be forwarding that on to you as well. Here's another one. Look at how two people are sharing a bike, and the person here said that they cut her off. And they said, of course, if she was to hit them, then it would have been automatically her fault. And she can't get a dash cam yet, but she says one day she's going to get a dash cam. So there you go. A couple more questions coming in. This one says, good morning. Can you ask the commissioner on the topic of obstruction, what do you say about slow drivers not adhering to the speed limit? Slow drivers also force people to overtake and contribute to impatient driving as well. And what do you also say about introducing slow lanes where we can? In the USA, if I'm not mistaken, slow driving is ticketable too, as it is an obstruction, and any obstruction should be an offense. So people need to learn to adhere to the speed limit. It's not a suggestion or recommendation, it's the law. So is slow driving much of a problem? Is that our biggest problem here?
It's not our biggest problem, but I suppose I got to be careful with this. So I suppose to empathize with the writer, if you're in a 40-mile zone and someone is driving 25, I get the annoyance. I get people. So I would argue that is you could be obstructing. I would argue that is you could be seen as obstructing. And yes, in the U.S., well aware, as you will know probably better than I do. Certainly, if you're on a highway, 65 mile per hour highway, and you're driving 40 and slowing traffic down, you will no doubt, if highway patrol come, you'll very likely get pulled over and get a ticket because you're obstructing traffic. But a highway is completely different, because that's a sort of fast moving, keeping traffic going, the flow of traffic going. Whereas we're not so much in that situation here. But I get the writer, and yes, I get the annoyance. I can empathize with that. And so if you're in a 40, my advice is at least drive the speed limit, drive 40 miles an hour, but don't slow down 25 miles an hour in the 40. And I know why people do it. Some people say, well, I'll never drive beyond 30. And that prevents you from getting a ticket, period, I suppose. But it does cause a bit of annoyance to other road users when you're in that sort of situation. all I would say is don't make the roads unsafer by
Yes.
doing something else than to be, I suppose, try to avoid that situation. Then you make the situation more worse or create more danger.
Mm-hmm. We've got a caller on the line. Let's take this caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome
But
to
I think the important thing is obstructing traffic in that sense is not our biggest problem. Our biggest issue is speeding and the inconsiderate driving.
the opposite. Yeah. All right, caller. Good morning. Question or comment?
Yes, good morning, Miss Sandra here.
Oh, hello, my darling. Joining us from Kim and Brack this beautiful morning. How are you?
Oh, I am just doing fine and heavenly thanking God for the breath is into my body. Okay.
Wonderful.
I have a question for Mr. Walton this morning, which I can remember when he born. He must be familiar with me.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, my question for him. I live on Tree Lane. I live on Tree Lane, house ready. And believe you me, it's a race track coming into my road. There's a school teacher that teaches taught this school. I'm not calling her name. She comes in here every morning to back of me to pick up one little boy. That woman speeds across here like she owned Kim and Brack. But I'm telling the Walton this morning, if it was like even 10 years ago and it was wild that then, I would step, nail, and wood and put it across with my road. That every vehicle that speed and come in here, that they would get their tires punctured. And another question for him this morning, I think he needs to install cameras on Sport Bay Public Road because speeders, they comes up, they turn and when they turn round up there, you think that the district of Bufite is closing in. And the loud music from some of them, and we have a 93-year-old lady that live across from me, and it's no respect for that woman all hours and night. You can hear pong, 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 pong. So I'm asking him to please to install a camera in the district of Fort Bay. And that's my question to him this morning.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner. Thank you, my darling. Have a good day.
Yes.
All righty. Bye-bye. All right, Miss Valda has some concerns there. She said if it was the younger version of her, she would take matters into her own hands. But of course, we don't want people to have to feel like they have to take matters into their own hands.
So I've made some notes there on the location and the issues. I suppose one is the issue of speeding, and the second is about the loud music. So I've taken both of those away. I'll certainly speak to, as I said, our DPSC colleagues, Department of Public Safety colleagues, because they're the ones that are responsible for installation of the cameras. And I'll just look at that and we'll take that away. I've no doubt that we can make that happen. The other issue on the noise, I spoke of that earlier, but I'll speak to my inspector about that issue because that's not right. I mean, we've got laws that protect and look after elder folks in the latter years of their lives, and they shouldn't be up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning being having to deal with loud music. So I'm absolutely a proponent of looking at that issue on noise pollution. So, but in the interim, we'll certainly look at that.
Yep. All right. We're going to start to wrap up here in just a little bit. Obviously, this has become an RCIPS show, which we have no problems with because the questions were plentiful for you, Commissioner.
I was going to say this quickly turned into RCIPS, and it was supposed to be on multiple.
I know road safety, but the people really, this again is just an indication of how much, when you've got over 400 people there listening to you, of how much they want to hear from you as commissioner. So this one comes in that says, second question, we had an incident earlier this year in the Beach Bay area where two young boys will walk around masked up one morning. Police were called, and after gathering footage from neighbors, it was seen that the boys had removed the covering on their way towards Shamrock Road. So I provided this to the officers, including providing a report. To this day, they did not check the CCTV, despite them saying that they only had 60 days to check. And then months later, I received a call to say that they were closing the case because no statement had been received. I actually went into went into the station, provided a statement on police forms, and signed it. So it seems to me that the police did not do their job. So when this sort of thing happens, where a citizen or a resident makes a report, they provided RCIPS with information. How is it possible that your officers are saying that no statement was made? That's why the case was closed.
I think it's difficult for me to comment on this point because I would have to obviously do some research. Did the caller say when this took place? Is it?
They didn't specify exactly when, but I can get more details for sure.
If you could get the details and get it to me, then I can have a look at it. But the end reality is that we should be looking at that. And I suppose the question is always, someone wearing a mask, is it a criminal offense in the criminals? Right now, it isn't. So if you walk out of your studio right now, put a mask on and walk outside, are you committing a criminal? Can I come and arrest you for a criminal offense? The answer is no. But if it's walking around 2 o'clock in the morning, then perhaps there's other issues going on in terms of whether is it going equipped to steal? Is there criminal trespass? So we need to look at other areas around trespass. Are these persons on public, on private property? So the trespassing, are they up to, I suppose, as we would say commonly, no good, so nefarious activities? So we look at a number of issues as to how we can address this, other than the fact that they are wearing masks. Obviously, when someone is wearing masks at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, it is scary. No doubt about it. It's scary. So I understand that. So it's if I get the details, I can look at it because I'm noticing one person here has got gloves on and the like. So when you see someone dressed like this 2 o'clock in the morning, very likely no one dresses like that 2 o'clock. They're looking to steal. So you could argue that is at the point going equipped to steal. And going equipped to steal, it all depends on the stuff that you have on you, whether you got implements of housebreaking. It could be screwdriver, it could be a knife, it can be pliers, whatever that is, could be a mask, gloves. So we will have to look at it from a standpoint of going equipped to steal in terms of the criminal offense. But I think for clarity, merely having something covering your face in a criminal at this very moment is not a criminal offense. If you imagine all of the landscape people, the construction people, we would be criminalizing people every single day. So that alone, that in itself is not. We look at the other activity around the reason why you've got that on. And I think what was just highlighted there, if I was investigating, I would be looking at going equipped, and that's where I try to resonate through my entire team. Look beyond the mask. Why are they dressed this way? Where are these implements of housebreaking?
All right. So, and to be clear, they said they actually had footage of them checking cars. So footage was actually provided to the police. So I'll get you more details offline on that.
I think that just reaffirms my point. They are going equipped with steel, and the reason for the mask, reason for the gloves, they check in cars is they don't want to leave forensics and everything behind. They don't want their identities. So that's a clear cut going equipped with steel. It's just a matter of identity now.
Yeah. So Cayman Brack Carey says, yes, Spot Bay Road is a racetrack. And she goes on to say the Towns and Communities Act is not enforced in Cayman Brack. At least by coming on, the commissioner gets to hear firsthand the concerns of the locals, says Shaka. Also goes on to say he should come on more often. The real Michelle Teresa says he's cute. Let him stay. Okay. I'm sure he appreciates that. The real Michelle says, where and how is the data stored and collected from the CCTV cameras? What cybersecurity is in place to prevent hacking or compromising safety? So I doubt the commissioner is going to give you all of those details, the real Michelle, but rest assured that they have forensically trained and security trained people within the RCIPS, as well as the other agencies falling under, that ministry that are well equipped to secure that data so that, yes, hacking would not be something that you could easily do. Jim says there's no real reason to be wearing masks anymore other than having low or no immune system. So we're not talking about that type of mask, Jim. We're talking about the, what do they call the balaclavas or whatever? A lot of people wear those, which is kind of what these guys have on, or they wear t-shirts, whatever, if they are in specific industries where they get a lot of dust and stuff. So, you see it with lawn guys all the time, construction workers during the day. I think, though, that when they leave the construction site, they need to take them off. So maybe the law can be tweaked a little bit where if you're not at an active construction site, there's no reason for you to be walking in, for example, into a restaurant or other establishment with those on. So that's a very different situation. We have got Jonathan on the line. Good morning, Jonathan. Question or comment for the commissioner?
One statement and a few questions. I hope I'll be allowed to time. Good morning, Sandra, and good morning, Commissioner Walton. First of all, sir, I appreciate and thank you for taking the time. I'll give the time for the populace to ask the questions.
Hold on, Jonathan. There's something I think in your background that's making a lot of noise. I'm not sure.
It's not my background, Sandra.
Oh, okay. It might have been the police commissioner. My apologies. All right. Commissioner, now that you've muted yourself, it has gone away, so we're good. Go ahead, Jonathan. Let's hear your questions and comment.
Okay. The first thing I have to say is a statement. Commissioner Walton, I do have to immediately take issue with the statements you made just now as it pertains to people driving slow, particularly considering the fact, sir, that we do not have a dual, an alternative route to and from the Eastern Districts. I have witnessed it myself many times, far too many, where, you'll have one person driving ridiculously slow, and the people who do not have enough patience or sense or consideration, they will overtake a bunch of cars and create a hazard for everybody on the road. So I just quickly want to say that I do have a difference of opinion, and I would venture to say, Commissioner Walton, that there are a lot of people in Cayman who think that driving slow on our roadways should be something that should be disallowed. And I'll just leave it there for your consideration, sir, because it is a problem that exists. And that brings me into my first question, which is I was happy to hear you speak to the fact that people who have videographic evidence of dangerous, inconsiderate driving, because, look, I have multiple times been in a situation where I see people overtaking and quite literally running oncoming traffic off of the road instead of having a care or conscience for their own safety and public safety in general. I've watched it tens, if not hundreds of times happen, sir. My question to you is this. What is the reality of the law when it pertains to, can you please expound a little bit for us here on the reality as it pertains to prosecutability of a member of the public's videographic evidence. And this would also extend, into littering offenses and even poaching offenses and stuff like that. Where does the actual law come down? Because I heard you mention, sir, that if somebody has videographic evidence, they have a dash cam that records what could not be in any other way interpreted as anything other than dangerous driving practices. Is it a fact? Because I think a lot of us in Cayman are under the impression, or have been, that is not allowed within a court of law in the Cayman Islands to be used as evidence. I would like to ask you, please, if you can clarify that for all of us, how that works. And the second question I have tied on to that, Mr. Walton, is in that instance, if and when that videographic evidence is utilized to prosecute in a court of law, does the person who takes that videographic footage, which then can become evidence, is that person required to then be a witness in that court of law proceedings?
Okay. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Appreciate it. Commissioner?
Thanks, Ms. Hill. I was just trying to make sure I was capturing information because we're going into, I suppose, issues around evidence and Evidence Act and how that works, I suppose. Let me simplify it. If we put this into the criminal world, so let's just say you and I were at an event and we are witnessing someone, an incident, two individuals, and we see someone, let's just say, stab someone. We've actually videoed that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is the best evidence you will ever get. Okay, that's great evidence. Now that's a criminal world, so obviously that's going to be challenged, and because there's other issues that has that now. So in that case, that witness, that person that has taken that shot, is a very likely that that person would have to go. We'll need to obtain the video. We'll need to be able to what we call the chain of custody, so we know when that was taken. I suppose to make sure it meets the evidential threshold. I'm not sure it would fit the witness anonymity bill in the sense of truly what a witness anonymity, because those are legal arguments before the court. But that is how I could simplify all the wider issue around videography or photographic evidence, documentary evidence. So you're seeing where I'm going with this is that that it's still videography of a crime has just taken place. You videoed it, and you said, I've got evidence on my phone. I've witnessed this. I obviously need to take a statement from you. We'll have to see whether or not maybe the area, whatever it was, gives you the opportunity to be to I suppose look at the witness anonymity law and whether or not we could utilize that. It may be difficult, so I don't want to say completely no, and I don't want to say so I'd rather say it has to be looked at. But the key there is that videography, that evidence could be used. So applying that, I suppose that analogy in the sense of you've just videoed, and the reality is that it could be so much video coming in. It's a challenge for police resources to try to collate. The key there is the date, time stamp when this has taken place, and the fact it's in the Cayman Islands.
Yes.
So merely taking a video of someone in a car speeding, well, if it's challenged in a court of law, well, how do we know it was in the Cayman Islands? So you can see, and that's why we will ask an individual, would you want to come to court and give evidence? Would you be? But it doesn't necessarily, because traffic offenses are strict liability.
Right.
They're strict liability. So that individual you saw there park on the road, that those individuals parked in a disabled bay, that's a strict liability. The only exception, as we've said, is an individual who has within the statutory provision, has a right to park there, and they have a parking display on there. So, but traffic offenses are strict liability, and it makes it that much more, how shall I put it, simpler in the evidence world, as opposed to that first analysis I gave of that crime, that serious crime there. Generally speaking, a ticket is issued whether it's for obstruction or whether it's that parking bay situation, and give and take, that's a couple $100. So do you want to go to spend court now the next year challenging that ticket? Very, very unlikely. So most people I've found, we have gotten evidence, whether it's videography, whether it's photographic. I think the important bit for us is that we want to make sure it's not time barred either. So it's within 6 months, because all of those little legal issues, well, when was this taken? Was it taken 10 years ago? Was it taken? So all of these time barred issues. So provided we can say that was within this time frame, we should, but the offense itself, whether it's photographic or videography, it is, that is on traffic, is strict liability. So it is good evidence. It can be utilized. And as I've those two pieces of information this morning, I've already sent it on to my inspector, and so just go and locate these people and issue some tickets.
And let me just say this, there's something I'm going to give as a tip this morning for your listeners, right? So a couple things when it comes to the information that the commissioner just mentioned, like geolocation timestamps. There's an app that I actually use. So anytime I'm taking a picture personally of someone who is in a blue spot, I use this app on my phone. It's available on at least the iPhone. I'm sure Samsung has it as well. It's actually called Timestamp Camera. And so what it does is when you take a photo, it actually captures at the very top of the photo the timestamp details. So I was just having a quick look at one here, just as an example. I took one with, just my board, and up at the top, it has, I'm going to just share this with you guys so you can see exactly how, again, modern technology is your friend. You just need to know how to utilize it. So this will get to the point where, there's no question. Yes, most phones have metadata information for your pictures in any event, that a lot of you don't know how to use that. That's a little bit more complex to maybe get to those details. But let me show you how quickly this actually puts it on the photo itself. So all you have to do, it does pictures and videos, is simply take the video, take the photo, and then let me show you what it provides you with, because this is really important. And this is all you need. And you give this to the RCIPS. They have no, in my emails, I always say for clarity anyway, this is a location and so on, but it's actually on let me just see if I can find this really quickly. It's actually on the picture itself. Okay. So I just took a, now it's not 100% because I'll show you what it did. It put me in north side, but it actually has, as a matter of fact, I'm not going to show you because it has my it says north side, but then it has my actual house address on it. Like it has a street name. So for safety, I'm not going to necessarily show you that, but let me just say that it's pretty good. So it has December 11, 2025 at 9:43 and 38 seconds a.m. Then it has the actual street name, and that's 100% accurate. But then it says north side. I'm not in north side, but and then it says Cayman Islands. So check out apps like this. They put it on there. You send that to the police. That has all the relevant information stamped on the photo. So you don't have to really give the police anything else if it's more of the strict liability type, like traffic offenses and stuff like that. The other thing is in relation to the dash cams, some of them, I know for sure the ones that we have available, they actually have a geolocation as well. You guys have seen it, where it'll show you on the map exactly where you were when that footage was taken. Time, where you were, your license plate information, the speed that you were doing, all of that information is available on there. So, the technology is certainly there to make reporting these matters a lot simpler for the police once you send it to them. Commissioner, we want to thank you so much for coming on the program. Jim, I'm going to give you some more information here in the app. We'll discuss that in just a second. But Anthony says, Sandy, Mr. Walton is a hit this morning on the show. Much needed information and access to the public. Please ask him to continue to come once a month, especially with large incidents. Come and inform the public. Keep up the good work, law enforcement agencies. Can he also ensure that his second in command will be Caymanian for continuity? Do you hire your second in command? That's not your choice entirely.
So we have the Police Service Commission at the moment, from superintendent level and above is a Police Service Commission that looks at that. But of course, the Commissioner of Police is involved in the sense of the process around, I suppose, shortlisting and offering technical advice. So, but it is the Police Service Commission, which that is a process in itself. So I had to go through the same process. What I can say, what I can say is to Mr. Russell there, what I'm doing at the moment is I had two senior officers and Caymanian officers, Mr. Brady Banks, Chief Superintendent Brady Banks, and Superintendent Roger Williams went off to the UK last year, January to May, June actually. So it was a 6-month executive leadership program, and it's all part of for me, succession planning over the next 5 years. I think I said previously on this show that the way I see myself now, I'm in the last chapter of my career. So I certainly want to know when I leave that you leave behind individuals who can continue and just develop. So the plan really is the professional development of our local officers and make sure that they have a good opportunity when they do go before the Police Service Commission, that they can put forward as good, suitably qualified person, executive leaders. Yeah.
All right.
And
so
can I just say this, because we often get a lot of criticism, I suppose. And I have to say now that we're constantly in turbulence. I feel sometimes that we're constantly in turbulence. That's because all eyes are transfixed on us, and you know, the volume is always on high for the police. And for me, I think that's a good thing for the police, because I expect the public to hold us accountable, hold me accountable as the police commissioner. You know, when I started in this role 2 years ago, I said I'm police commissioner who happens to be Caymanian. So I am not suffering from any sort of syndrome that makes me feel I'm not have the credibility, and I'm trying to create that same situation for all of the officers and you know, looking to move up in the organization. But important bit for what I want to say as well is we've done a lot of work over the last 19 months. Remember when I came into this role, and I'm sort of moving away from traffic to criminal. When I came into this role, we were at the height of that gang tension. I did make a remark before taking over that it was going to be a difficult task, because I had already envisioned what was happening, given what was undercurrent. The last 19 months, we've had, just in 3 categories, I would say, your serial sexual offenders, serious violent offenders, and farm offenders. We've had 25 persons, dangerous people within those 3 categories that have all been charged, convicted, and totality of 323 years imprisonment, those 25. So some significant outcomes over the past 19 months. And so we do get a bit of criticism, I suppose, around what we're doing, but there's a whole lot of good work that is going on in the organization. So I just thought I'd get that out there just to make sure that people know that, you know, when I started this, the priority at the time was we had this issue, we had to deal with it. Now we're you know, try to get us back to some sort of normalcy. We can deal with all these other issues in terms of antisocial behavior, the community issues. Traffic is going to be, for me, a long-term issue, and that's why the National Road Safety strategy is really a 15-year strategy, 2023 to 2038. Traffic, we won't solve the traffic issues overnight. We need to have some long-term sustainability, which can't just be for the police, so it has to be a holistic approach.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Really appreciate it. We'll wrap up. Anthony says, and I just want to touch on this quickly. He says, Sandy, here's an idea. Please remember to donate royalties to my CNB account. How about the RCIPS do a once a month show on CMR TV that we can name it the Beat Report. So I don't want to say 100% because I don't know if I reached out to the RCIPS directly, but I kind of feel like I did. But a lot of these government agencies, at least at the ministerial level, Anthony, they have access to CMR TV. They know that they can come on and they can actually produce their own show, and we invite them to do so. Commissioner, I feel like I sent you guys something, but I don't want to hold myself to that because I've sent out so many. To be honest, and the RCIPS would be no different. They can have a monthly show where they produce it and they do it in whatever format they want. Obviously it takes time and resources to be able to do that stuff. The easiest way really for him to continue to have dialogue with the community is simply to come on this program. But separate and apart from that, they can do their own show where they talk about all the amazing and wonderful things that they have been up to. Because as Deputy Governor Frans Manderson once said in the program, the approach that all of government should be taken is no more silent victories. And you got to beat your own drum sometimes for people to know what's happening within your respective organizations. Shaka Zulu says it's such a great feeling to be talking to an officer of generational roots, and goes on to say, wow, come onto the program again, sir. It's great PR for your team. And Jim says Cayman still needs a sexual offenders list. Amen to that. We're going to give that one a kaboom there. And Tartarian says it can be solved overnight if people decide to abide by the law and stop acting brainless. So again, folks, the primary reason the commissioner was on today was for the Arrive Alive 345 campaign. We're really encouraging people over the holiday season to please, we are literally begging you to not drink and drive, to take your time on the roadways of the Cayman Islands. This campaign has been an annual campaign now that has been on in its 25th year. And it's so shocking that we still have around this time of year unnecessary deaths because people are simply not willing to abide by what is really the law now, right? So their Arrive Alive campaign is in collaboration with a number of agencies, including the NDC, which we saw Mr. Simon and Miss Angela on earlier, the Ministry of Health and Wellness, NRSC representatives, and private transport providers who all come together with a unified mission of promoting responsible road use, especially during the holiday season and into the new year. They're going to be operating and offering these vehicles, which basically provides you with a safe and free ride home on New Year's Eve, because that's the one night that a lot of people are out celebrating, a lot of people out drinking. And it's aimed to reduce impaired driving and encourage responsible choices. As the minister said earlier, that really this is about planning. A lot of you are planning what New Year's Eve events you're going to go to, what parties you're going to go to. And likewise, that you're going to be drinking. So, it's time to either plan to use the available campaign services from Arrive Alive or have alternate services available. You can call a taxi. You can have a safe friend pick you up. So we're really asking for you to think ahead of time on what your plan will be to make sure that you can arrive home safely, that you have a safe ride. When I was at USF way back in the day, in the 90s, they had a safe ride program, very, very similar to this, that within a certain radius of the university, they would go pick up on weekend nights, they'd go pick up people who were going out driving and offer them a free ride back to either their dorm on campus or the surrounding campus apartment. So the same concept. They want you to arrive back home alive and safe. Please, 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 please do not drink and drive. It is not worth the risk. We put up the poll question, by the way. I'm interested to see the results on this one. So if you want to participate, the poll question is up. Is it time to criminalize DUIs? And maybe some people will pause if they know that, if they are caught with a DUI, they're going to lose their right to be able to travel and other things. Maybe they are less likely to drink and drive. So the QR code is there. You can scan the QR code, as well as you can put in the URL down at the bottom, strawpoll.com/criminal DUI. Let's go ahead and vote, because I think even the police commissioner would probably be interested in seeing the voting results on this. I think I know how it's going to go, but you never know. So go ahead and vote. I'll post it up on social media and have that available for all of you as well. All right, Commissioner, we really appreciate you coming in the program and staying with us for a little bit of extra time so that we can, and there was so much more that we didn't get to, folks, but anything you sent me, I will forward on to the commissioner and ask him to have a look at it. And there was a video before you do leave. Yeah, somebody says, was there a video of someone at SMB recently doing sexual things, a male from last weekend? Someone did send me the video and I hadn't posted it up yet. I was actually away this weekend, but Commissioner, when we see stuff like that, and we have video evidence, although it was from behind. So, I mean, I guess he could argue some sort of defense there. But when we see people engaging in certain types of activity, we've seen other young girls at the beach being haggled and harassed, and they, took footage of it, and they get that to the police. I'm sure that's pretty good evidence too, right?
Yeah, I mean, so what I would certainly avoid at all costs is posting it. I think get it into us. You can come in and report it, and we can capture it. We have to be very careful when it comes to children, because then it is actual criminal offense to be posting certainly indecent images of children. So even though you may actually be
no, this was an adult, to be clear.
Okay, so so we
an adult having a little bit too much fun in a public place.
I get you.
Yeah.
Is probably, it sounds like there's an indecency act there, public indecency, maybe public exposure and the like. So my recommendation under those circumstances would basically just come into the police station, make a report, have us capture the evidence from your phone, and we can proceed from there. We've had this before. We had an individual, I won't go into his details, where someone captured information on this individual on 7 Mile Beach a few years, 2 or 3 years ago, who was exposing himself in front of tourists, and they basically drove straight to the West Bay Police Station. We knew right away who it was. We arrested that individual, and now he's serving time in prison. So and he's a serial sexual offender.
Yes,
so
I remember that one.
We have real examples where we've actually had to utilize video evidence. I just gave one of those.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
I suppose my final message then, more around the road safety, it really is, and before I depart, really, it's the festive season, Christmas. Look, we want people to go out, enjoy themselves, enjoy the festivities over the holiday period, but please do not drink and drive. Please make arrangements prior to leaving home. If you plan to go out and have a few drinks, make arrangements for either a dedicated driver or a taxi service to drop you off and bring you back. But we really don't, we want people to go out, enjoy themselves, and have a good time. We just don't want that person to get behind the wheel of a car, because we need you to be smart, stay alive. The life you save may be your very own life. And I think that's my message.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Commissioner. Kurt Walton joining us this morning. Folks, you heard the message loud and clear around the holiday season. Please, we're begging you to just be sensible on the roadways. And like he said, you could be saving your own life. I mean, it's so sad. Every year in the month of December, everybody's in high alert because we know what tends to happen, right? Let's go this month without a fatality, please. All right, folks, that's it. That's all she wrote. Barbara G says, thanks for all those, for all that you're doing. And Merry Christmas to the commissioner. When it comes, yes, it's right around the corner. Literally 2 weeks out from today. 2 weeks, Christmas, that's it. Let me remind you guys that Digicel has their, oh my goodness, I got a little something in my throat. Digicel has their annual event on now for Christmas sales. So go and visit at the Digicel stores for all of the various offerings that are on. They also have their in-store Appreciation Day event that is this Saturday. So a couple days away at the Camana Bay location. Please go by. That's going to be from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. And oh, wait a minute. They're going to, no. Now they're saying it's at all locations. Before it said only Camana Bay. All right. They're actually doing it at all of the locations. Camana Bay, Waterfront, Countryside, / Savannah. Isn't Countryside and Savannah the same store? What am I missing there? All right. So you're going to get in-store details. I'm going to double check this because I think I'm reading this and this isn't right for the Appreciation Day. Okay. No, I think the Appreciation Day is just at Camana Bay, but this is, they're going to have on Saturday, December 20th, which is the following Saturday, right before Christmas. That is when you can do an in-store activation event. So my apologies for that. That one will be available at all of the store locations. So you're going to have exclusive one-day deals, prepaid and postpaid mobile plans, digital internet, and more. So we'll tell you a little bit more about that. But this weekend, please go out to the actual Customer Appreciation Day, which is going to be held on Saturday at the Camana Bay location. And of course, Santa will be there. So those of you who want to grab a little photo with Santa, please do so as well. Okay, I got to run. I've actually got an appointment in a few minutes. But one of the things that came up that I'm going to look into is a lot of people were saying about the those e-bikes, whether or not the insurance companies would even insure them. So here's the thing. It is very, very possible that insurance companies will refuse to, now the government's going to make that a requirement. It's very possible, and this is a commercial decision. I mean, I just reached out to someone in the ministry and they said, well, that's going to be an entirely commercial decision for the insurance companies. But what if, have a think about this. What if the insurance companies say, no, we're not going to insure these mopeds and e-bikes because they are too high risk? Or what if they say, the risk involved is high, so therefore we're going to put the premium at such a rate to actually reflect that as well. Interesting. So, you might find that what is going to happen is those people are not going to be able to afford the insurance or get insurance at all. And so then the e-bikes will disappear. Because, why would you bring in an e-bike and make it available for sale if the person can't even get insurance? Think about that one, folks. We'll discuss it some more on tomorrow's program. Tomorrow's Friday already. Oh my gosh, the week has just flown by. I don't know where the time has gone, but on tomorrow's program, I'm happy to also say that we do have people from the Cayman Islands Port Authority coming on talking about the new crane, because there have been just a number of questions around that. So they're going to try to alleviate our concerns, and we'll have a discussion there. So make sure you tune in early tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Have a fantastic day, folks. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.